5 years had passed since Arun left school, but the memories of those days still lingered in his mind. Back then, he had been quiet, shy, and poor. He always sat at the back of the class, wore simple clothes, and never had money for fancy lunches or outings. His classmates had laughed at him, called him names, and treated him as if he were invisible. Arun had never argued. He had only smiled, worked hard, and focused on learning what he could. Arun had a small family. His mother worked long hours to keep their home. Arun had always helped her, doing part-time jobs and studying late at night. While others wasted time in teasing or showing off, Arun was quietly building his future. One afternoon, as Arun was checking emails on his phone, he received a message that made him pause. It was from a group chat of his old classmates. The message was from Rohit, the most arrogant boy in their class. The text read, "Class reunion after 5 years. Everyone must come. Dress smart. Don't miss it." The group erupted in excitement. Old classmates wrote comments about meeting again, sharing stories, and remembering fun times. Arun scrolled down and noticed a few messages that made his lips curl slightly. Even Arun should come. Let's see him now. Maybe he will still be our class clown. Haha, I can already imagine it. He will look the same as before. Arun understood immediately. This was not a friendly invitation. They wanted to see him fail, laugh at him, and continue mocking the boy they had always thought was weak. But Arun was not the same boy anymore. He had worked quietly and smartly. After finishing school, he had learned coding and online business skills. He started a small tech company from his bedroom. He faced many challenges, but he never gave up. Slowly, his business grew. He gained investors, expanded his company, and within a few years, it became one of the fastest growing tech companies in the country. Today, Arun's company was worth over $100 million. Arun had never told anyone about his success. Even his closest family did not brag about it. He did not want attention. To his old classmates, he was still the quiet, poor boy they remembered. For a long time, Arun thought about the invitation. His heart was calm. He did not feel anger or desire for revenge. But a part of him felt curious. He wanted to see if the people who had laughed at him would recognize the person he had become. The day of the reunion arrived. Arun chose a simple outfit. He wore a neat shirt and trousers. He did not wear expensive accessories or flashy shoes. He asked his driver to drop him at the hotel quietly, and the driver would leave immediately. Arun wanted to enter alone, unnoticed, to see everything for himself first. The Royal Palace Hotel was decorated beautifully for the reunion. Lights sparkled in every corner, and music played softly in the background. Clusters of people stood around, laughing, talking, and showing off. Many of his former classmates had done well, or at least they wanted everyone to think so. They wore expensive suits, elegant dresses, and sparkling watches. As Arun stepped inside, a few people turned their heads. Some whispers spread across the room. "Is that Arun? Look at him. Still so quiet. Why would he even come?" Rohit, the arrogant leader of the class, spotted Arun and walked toward him with a confident smile. He placed his hand roughly on Arun's shoulder. Well, look who decided to join. The quiet boy who never spoke. We almost thought you would be too scared to come." A few classmates laughed, some hiding their smiles, others openly mocking. Arun nodded politely. He did not respond to the teasing. He remained calm, sitting slightly away from the center, observing quietly. Rohit continued, "We are so curious, Arun. Have you changed at all? Or are you still the same little loser?" Arun smiled gently. Inside, he felt a quiet satisfaction. They thought nothing had changed, but in reality, He had changed everything. Arun now owned a company worth millions, employed hundreds of people, and had achieved the dreams they never believed he could. He realized the night ahead would be full of surprises. Arun had no desire to fight or argue. But he also knew that tonight, the truth about him would come out. And when it did, his classmates would finally see what they had missed all these years. The reunion hall buzzed with laughter and chatter as Arun quietly walked past groups of old classmates. He could feel their eyes following him, curious, confused, and even slightly uncomfortable. Many whispered to each other, trying to recall the boy they had once mocked. The quiet, poor boy from 5 years ago now carried himself with calm confidence. Rohit, sensing the tension, decided to make Arun the center of attention. He called out loudly, "Everyone, look who's here. Arun, come join us. We want to see if you've really changed." Some classmates laughed, expecting Arun to stumble or act nervous. A few cameras and phones appeared as people wanted to record what they thought would be another embarrassing moment for Arun. Arun walked calmly toward the group. His posture was straight, his eyes clear, and his smile polite. He did not rush or act intimidated. The contrast between the confident man in front of them and the boy they remembered was striking. Rohit smirked, "You look the same from afar, but have you grown at least a little? Or are you still the quiet one?" Arun smiled gently. "I have grown, Rohit. Just like everyone else, I worked hard, learned, and tried to improve. I believe everyone can grow if they focus on their goals." Some classmates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They were not expecting such calm and dignity from Arun. The arrogance in their voices faltered, replaced by curiosity. Rohit laughed awkwardly, trying to regain control. "Well, that is good. But let's be honest, we all know why you are here. To show us how small you are in real life." Arun nodded, still calm. "I am here because you invited me. I never wanted to come, but since this reunion is about seeing each other, I thought it would be polite to attend." The room fell silent for a moment. Arun's polite words, delivered without anger, made a few classmates feel guilty. They had invited him expecting laughter, but they were beginning to realize that something was different. At that moment, Arun's phone buzzed quietly in his pocket. He excused himself and stepped outside for a moment. In private, he quickly checked his company's dashboard on his phone. Everything was running smoothly, employees were sending updates, and sales were growing. Arun smiled quietly. He had worked for years in silence, and tonight he would see how people reacted to his success. Returning to the reunion hall, Arun felt a wave of confidence. He walked to a small table where Rohit and a few other arrogant classmates were sitting. He extended his hand politely. "Hello, Rohit. It's good to see you all after 5 years." Rohit shook his hand quickly, slightly hesitant. Arun's firm handshake surprised him. It was not weak, and it was not trembling. Arun looked at the group and said, "I see you all have done well in your own ways. That is very good." One of the classmates, Priya, whispered to another, "He is different. There is something about him now." Rohit, feeling the pressure, decided to challenge Arun. "Tell us, Arun. What have you been doing all these years? Are you still living in that small apartment? Or are you pretending to be successful?" Arun paused for a moment. He smiled politely, then said, "Actually, I run a company now. We work in technology, and the company is worth over $100 million. We have offices in several cities and employ hundreds of people." The words fell like a sudden thunderbolt in the room. Conversation stopped. Eyes widened. A few classmates dropped their drinks slightly, startled. The boy they had mocked, the quiet Arun, was now a millionaire. Rohit's smirk faded. He opened his mouth to say something, but no words came. Arun continued calmly. I worked hard, stayed focused, and never let past negativity affect me. I did not seek revenge, nor did I try to prove myself. I only focused on growth. The room was quiet. No laughter, no mocking comments. Only disbelief. Priya whispered, "I can't believe it. Arun, he really did it?" Arun looked at each of them with a calm smile. "I am happy to see you all here tonight. I hope you have all been well. That is what matters." Suddenly, the arrogant attitude in the room melted. Some classmates felt shame, realizing how wrong they had been to mock him. Rohit, who had tried to control the situation, now looked small and unsure. Arun had not shouted, argued, or acted proud. He had simply shown them the truth about himself. Arun returned to his seat, still polite, still calm. For the first time, he felt that the people who once laughed at him were seeing the real Arun. And this was only the beginning. After Arun's calm announcement about his company, the atmosphere in the hall had changed completely. Conversations that were loud and full of laughter earlier were now replaced by whispers and uncertain glances. His classmates could not believe what they had just heard. The quiet boy they had once mocked had become a man of immense success. Rohit, still trying to regain his arrogance, leaned closer to Arun. "Is this for real? You mean you are really running a company worth that much?" Arun smiled politely. "Yes, Rohit. I started small, just like many of you did. But I focused, worked hard, and made it grow." Rohit's usual smirk faltered. He tried to hide his surprise, but Arun's calm confidence made it impossible. Others in the group started asking questions. "How did you do it, Arun?" asked Priya, who had once laughed at him for bringing a simple lunchbox to school. Arun looked at her and replied, "I did not let negativity or failures stop me. I kept learning, practicing, and making small steps every day. Success is the result of persistence." Some classmates were amazed. Others felt embarrassed. They remembered all the times they had mocked him, called him names, and laughed at his simple clothes. Now, Arun was proof that their judgments had been wrong. As the evening progressed, Arun's calm and polite demeanor began to impress even those who had once disliked him. He smiled, listened to their stories, and offered advice whenever they asked. No arrogance, no pride, only honesty and kindness. Rohit finally gathered the courage to speak. "Arun, this is impressive. I mean, no one expected this. We always thought you would remain quiet and poor." Arun nodded. "I understand why you thought that. But everyone has their own path. Some take longer to discover it. I only focused on mine." The room went silent again. His words had weight. They were not a threat, a brag, or revenge. They were the truth. A few classmates whispered among themselves. "He is completely different now. Look at him, he is confident without being rude. I feel bad for laughing at him back then." Arun noticed a few of them avoiding eye contact. The realization of their past mistakes was sinking in. They had underestimated him, but Arun had never been bitter. He had simply worked on becoming better. Then, Rohit, trying to regain his status, said loudly, "Well, Arun, since you are so successful, why don't you share some tips with us? Maybe we can learn a thing or two." Arun smiled. "I am happy to share what I have learned. But remember, success is not about showing off. It is about consistent effort, focus, and believing in yourself even when others doubt you." Priya and a few others nodded eagerly. Arun continued, explaining how small steps, learning new skills, and staying patient had helped him build his company. Even the classmates who had been arrogant were listening carefully, realizing that his success was earned, not lucky. By this time, the reunion hall had shifted completely. Arun had changed the energy of the room. Where once laughter and mockery filled the air, Now there was respect. People were curious, attentive, and quietly impressed. Rohit, however, still felt uneasy. He had tried to dominate the room with his arrogance, but Arun's calm nature had taken over. For the first time, Rohit experienced a mix of respect and fear. He realized that Arun's success was not just money, it was self-discipline, patience, and intelligence. Arun noticed Rohit's discomfort but chose not to highlight it. Instead, he smiled at him and said, "It is never too late to change or improve. We all have potential, Rohit. We just need to find our path and stay focused." The room fell quiet again, but this time, it was a peaceful silence. Arun's words had touched some hearts. Classmates who had once mocked him felt ashamed and inspired at the same time. Arun had not shouted, argued, or acted proud. He had shown them what true success and confidence looked like. Later, some classmates approached Arun individually, apologizing for their past behavior. They admitted they had been wrong, and they wanted to learn from him. Arun accepted their apologies with grace. He realized that this reunion was not just about showing success. It was about forgiveness, humility, and the power of working quietly while others waste time in mockery. Arun had proven that strength was not about arrogance or insults. It was about patience, focus, and integrity. As the night continued, Arun felt a quiet happiness. He had walked into the room expecting curiosity and perhaps mockery, but he had left a mark that no one could ignore. The boy they had laughed at had become a man they could no longer dismiss. And Arun knew this was just the beginning. The reunion had shifted completely. Arun's quiet confidence and polite manner had changed the energy in the room. Classmates who had once laughed at him were now observing him with curiosity, admiration, and a little fear. They had expected a timid boy, but instead they were faced with a successful, calm, and intelligent man. Rohit, who had led the mockery for years, found himself fidgeting in his seat. He tried to smile, but it was forced. Arun's calmness and success had left him unsettled. He had spent years thinking he was superior, only to realize that the boy he had mocked was now far ahead in life. Some classmates, sensing the change, approached Arun. One of them, Nisha, had once been one of the most arrogant students in the class. She now looked nervous. "Arun, I didn't expect this. I am really sorry for laughing at you back then. You have worked so hard." Arun smiled gently. "Thank you, Nisha. I accept your apology. We all have our own paths in life, and sometimes we make mistakes in judging others. What matters is that we learn and grow." Another classmate, Sanjay, who had always acted rich and popular, tried to impress Arun. "Arun, maybe you can give us some advice on investments. I want to start something big too." Arun nodded. "Of course, Sanjay. I am happy to share my experiences. But remember, real success is about patience and consistent effort, not shortcuts." As Arun continued speaking with his classmates, the atmosphere in the room became respectful and serious. People were no longer mocking or laughing. Instead, they were listening, learning, and realizing the effort it took to become successful. Rohit could not remain silent any longer. He leaned toward Arun and said, "You really changed. You have money, power, and respect. I never imagined this. How did you do it?" Arun looked at him calmly. "I focused on what I could control. I worked hard, learned from failures, and stayed consistent. That is all it took." Rohit felt a mixture of envy and shame. He remembered all the times he had mocked Arun for being poor and quiet. And now, Arun had achieved what Rohit could only dream of. Some of the classmates started sharing their own stories. They had done well in their jobs, businesses, or education, but none had reached the level Arun had achieved. For the first time, they felt respect for the boy they had once ignored. Arun noticed a few of them whispering among themselves. He is worth so much now. He owns a big company and hundreds of employees. Do you think he remembers all the times we laughed at him? I think he does, but he is too polite to show anger. Arun's calm and polite demeanor had a powerful effect. People were realizing that success was not just about money. It was about discipline, intelligence, humility, and the ability to stay strong while facing challenges. Later in the evening, Arun was invited to sit at the main table. Rohit tried to maintain his arrogance but could not hide the respect he now felt. Arun accepted the invitation and spoke with everyone politely. He shared his journey, emphasizing learning, persistence, and hard work. A few classmates who had been particularly cruel in school approached him. Arun, we are sorry for everything. We didn't realize how wrong we were. Arun nodded. Apologies are accepted. What matters is that we move forward and learn from the past. No one is perfect, and we all make mistakes. What matters is how we correct them. The room became more relaxed. Arun's classmates began to enjoy the reunion, not for mocking him, but for sharing stories, experiences, and laughter without judgment. Arun had changed the energy of the room completely, not by showing off, but by showing his true self. Rohit, sitting next to Arun, finally spoke quietly. You have really made a big change, Arun. I don't know what to say. I feel impressed and guilty at the same time. Arun smiled. It is okay, Rohit. The past is the past. What matters is what we do now. We all have the power to change ourselves and achieve more if we focus. By the end of the evening, the reunion had transformed into a gathering of respect, learning, and understanding. Arun had shown his classmates that their arrogance and mockery had no real power. True strength was in patience, focus, humility, and kindness. As Arun left the reunion, he felt a quiet satisfaction. He had walked in as the boy they had laughed at and left as a man they could no longer dismiss. The lesson was clear: success is earned in silence, and arrogance can never match dedication and intelligence. Arun's journey had inspired many, and he knew that this night would remain in the minds of his classmates forever. They had finally seen the truth about the boy they had underestimated. The evening continued, and Arun's calm presence had completely changed the mood of the reunion. His classmates, who had come with plans to mock him, were now quiet, observing, and even eager to talk to him. They were curious about his life, his company, and his journey. Arun had become the center of attention, not because he demanded it, but because his success and humility naturally drew people in. Some of the classmates, especially those who had once been arrogant, were trying to impress Arun. They shared stories about their own work, businesses, and achievements. Arun listened politely, giving thoughtful responses and advice. Priya, who had once laughed at Arun for his simple lunchbox, spoke first. Arun, I never thought I would meet you like this. Your story is inspiring. I have been trying to start my own business, but I always get scared. Can you give me some advice? Arun smiled warmly. Of course, Priya. The key is to start small and focus on learning. Mistakes will happen, but they are part of the journey. Patience and persistence are more important than speed. Always believe in yourself, and you will find your path. Priya nodded, her eyes shining with hope. She was not the only one who felt inspired. Others were listening closely, realizing that Arun's success was not just money. It was his intelligence, his calm thinking, and his hard work. Sanjay, who had always tried to act rich and important in school, spoke next. Arun, I am amazed. I have tried investing, starting small projects, but nothing has worked as well. How did you manage to make your company grow so fast? Arun replied, I focused on solving real problems. I learned from other successful people, studied trends, and always thought about what people really need. Growth comes when you create value, not when you try to show off. Even Rohit, who had led the mockery in school, could not hide his amazement. He leaned closer and asked, "Arun, I have to admit, I am impressed. You are calm, smart, and successful. I never expected this. You have truly changed everything." Arun nodded. "Thank you, Rohit. I do not measure success by what others think. I measure it by the effort I put in and the results I create. Everyone has the ability to change their life if they focus on growth and learning." As the evening went on, Arun found himself surrounded by classmates who wanted to hear his story. They asked about his company, how he started, and what challenges he faced. Arun spoke honestly, sharing lessons about hard work, patience, and resilience. Some classmates admitted they had been wrong to judge him. "Arun, we made fun of you back then. We didn't know how strong and smart you were." "I am sorry," said one of the former popular boys. Arun smiled. "Thank you. It is okay. We all make mistakes when we are young. What matters is learning from them and moving forward." Rohit, sitting beside Arun, finally spoke with sincerity. "I have to say, Arun, I feel both impressed and ashamed. We treated you so badly, and now I realize how wrong we were. You have achieved so much with patience and intelligence." Arun replied calmly, "It is good that you see the truth now. What matters is not the past, but how we behave today. Anyone can grow if they focus on their goals." By this time, several classmates were asking Arun for advice about business, investments, and career paths. They realized that he had earned his success through hard work, not luck or connections. Arun answered each question politely, offering guidance and encouragement without showing arrogance. The reunion, which had begun with mockery and laughter at Arun's expense, had transformed into a gathering of respect, learning, and inspiration. Arun had changed the room with his words and actions. He had shown that true success comes not from making others feel small, but from focusing on personal growth, helping others, and staying humble. Even the classmates who had once been cruel could not ignore the change. They felt admiration and a little guilt for the way they had treated him in school. Arun's presence reminded them that mocking others only reflects their own weaknesses. Strength comes from dedication, patience, and focus. As the night drew closer to its end, Arun felt satisfied. He had not entered the reunion to show off, to prove a point, or to seek revenge. He had simply been himself, and that alone had changed everything. His classmates had finally seen the boy they had laughed at and realized he was now a man they could no longer underestimate. The evening ended with polite farewells. Classmates shook hands, thanked Arun for his advice, and some even asked if they could stay in touch. Arun agreed politely. He had no interest in holding grudges or showing off, but he was happy to help those who wanted to learn. As Arun left the reunion hall, he felt calm and content. He had faced his past, shown his present, and inspired others without arrogance. The boy they had mocked had become a man they respected, and that was a victory far greater than any money or title. The night had proven one thing clearly: patience, hard work, and humility always outshine mockery, arrogance, and cruelty. Arun's journey was not only about wealth, but about becoming a strong, confident, and respected person. And his classmates would remember this lesson for the rest of their lives. After the reunion had started, the room had completely changed. The laughter and arrogance that once dominated the hall were replaced by curiosity, admiration, and quiet respect. Arun's classmates were beginning to understand that the boy they had once mocked had grown into a man of remarkable success. Rohit, who had been the loudest in mocking Arun during school, sat quietly at his table. His usual smirk was gone. He kept thinking about the boy he had laughed at and the man now standing in front of him. It was not just Arun's wealth that impressed him. It was Arun's calmness, his confidence, and his ability to inspire others. Several classmates approached Arun individually. Some apologized sincerely for their past behavior, while others sought advice. Arun listened patiently, smiled politely, and responded with words of encouragement. Priya, who had once teased Arun for his simple clothes and lunchbox, stepped forward. Arun, I am sorry for laughing at you. I can see now how wrong we were. You worked hard, stayed focused, and became amazing. Arun nodded gently. Thank you, Priya. Apologies are appreciated, but remember, what matters is how we behave now. The past is a lesson, not a burden. Sanjay, another former classmate, spoke nervously. Arun, I want to start a business too, but I feel unsure. Can you give me advice on where to begin? Arun smiled warmly. Start with something small. Focus on learning, understanding problems, and creating value. Mistakes are part of the process. Stay patient and persistent, and growth will follow. Rohit finally gathered the courage to speak. Arun, I never expected this. I feel ashamed for treating you badly. You are calm, smart, and successful. I respect you. Arun looked at him kindly. It is never too late to change, Rohit. Respect is earned through effort and behavior, not wealth or status. Everyone can improve if they focus on the right path. The atmosphere in the room shifted completely. Classmates who had been arrogant were now listening, learning, and quietly impressed. They realized that Arun's success was not sudden or lucky. It was the result of years of hard work, focus, and determination. Some classmates whispered to each other. He really changed everything. We underestimated him. He is so calm and kind, yet so successful. I wish I had done what he did. It is inspiring. He never bragged, never mocked anyone, yet we are in awe of him. Even Rohit noticed the difference. Arun's humility and confidence had a stronger impact than arrogance ever could. Rohit realized that money alone does not make a person respected. It is the combination of intelligence, patience, humility, and determination that creates admiration. Later in the evening, Arun joined a group conversation. His classmates were sharing their own stories, their achievements, and challenges. Arun listened, offered advice, and encouraged them to pursue their goals. He never boasted about his wealth or company, but his calm words carried power. Several classmates admitted they had been wrong to judge him. Arun, we laughed at you in school. We never thought you would achieve so much. We are truly sorry. Arun smiled. Thank you. Apologies are accepted. The important thing is that we learn from our mistakes and focus on growth. We all have the power to improve ourselves. Rohit, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke again. Arun, I realize now that being arrogant and mocking others achieves nothing. You have shown us the true way to success. I feel inspired and humbled at the same time. Arun nodded. Yes, Rohit. Success is not about making others feel small. It is about working on yourself, helping others, and staying consistent. That is the only path to lasting achievement. By the end of the evening, Arun's classmates had transformed. They had gone from mocking and arrogance to respect and admiration. Arun had shown them that true strength comes from patience, focus, and humility. As Arun prepared to leave, several classmates approached him one last time. They shook his hand, thanked him for his advice, and expressed genuine respect. Arun accepted their gestures politely, knowing that he had made a lasting impact. Walking out of the Royal Palace Hotel, Arun felt a quiet satisfaction. He had faced the people who once mocked him, remained calm, shared his success without arrogance, and inspired them to learn from his journey. The boy they had laughed at was now a man they respected, and that respect was far more valuable than any fortune. Arun's journey had proven one thing clearly: those who mock and judge others will never achieve true respect, while patience, humility, and dedication create lasting success. The reunion had become a night of lessons, realizations, and admiration. Arun had not only shown his own growth but also encouraged others to strive for better versions of themselves. The night ended, but the memory of Arun's calm confidence, success, and humility would remain with his classmates forever. They had finally seen the truth about the boy they had underestimated, and it was a truth that could never be ignored again. As the evening of the reunion drew to a close, the atmosphere in the hall had completely transformed. The arrogant laughter and mocking attitudes from the beginning were replaced by respect, admiration, and curiosity. Arun had quietly changed the way his classmates saw him and, in many ways, how they saw themselves. He stood near the exit, observing small groups still talking about him. Even those who had been cruel in school now looked at him differently. They had realized that success was not just about money or status, it was about patience, focus, and humility. Arun's calm presence had taught them a lesson that no mocking could ever convey. Rohit approached him once more, this time with a sincere expression. "Arun, I have to say this. We laughed at you, underestimated you, and treated you badly. Seeing you now, I feel ashamed. You have achieved so much, and yet you remain humble. I respect you deeply." Arun smiled gently. "Thank you, Rohit. It is never too late to change or learn. What matters is how we act now, not what happened in the past." Priya stepped forward again. "Arun, you have inspired all of us tonight. Your story shows that anyone can achieve great things if they work hard and stay focused. I feel motivated to follow my dreams now." Arun nodded. "That is good to hear. Remember, success is built day by day. Every effort counts. Stay patient and never give up, even if others doubt you." Several classmates gathered around him, asking questions about his company and how he started. Arun answered each question politely, explaining how he began with small steps, learned from challenges, and focused on creating value for others. His answers were clear, simple, and inspiring. Sanjay, who had always tried to act important, admitted quietly, "I see now that arrogance and showing off never lead to real success. Arun, you have taught us a better way. I want to change the way I approach life and work." Arun nodded again. "It is never too late to change. Everyone has the ability to improve themselves. The important thing is to focus on growth and not worry about how others perceive you." Rohit stood silently for a moment, then spoke, "Arun, you have done something amazing tonight. Not just in business, but in how you handled all of us. You stayed calm, polite, and confident, and yet you showed us the truth. I have learned more from you in these few hours than I did in all of school." Arun smiled. "That is the purpose of life. We learn from experiences and from others. If my journey can inspire even one person, that is enough." As Arun began to walk toward the exit, his classmates followed for a moment, wanting to shake hands, thank him, and express their respect. Each handshake, each smile, and each word of gratitude made Arun feel a quiet satisfaction. He had not entered the reunion to boast or seek revenge. He had entered to be himself, and that alone had left a lasting impression. Outside the Royal Palace Hotel, the night air was calm. Arun took a deep breath, reflecting on the evening. 5 years ago, he had been a quiet, poor boy, mocked by everyone. Now, he was a man respected by his classmates, a man who had achieved success through patience, hard work, and humility. Rohit spoke one last time before Arun left. "Arun, you have shown us all a real lesson. We will never forget this night. I hope we can all become better people and work harder, just like you." Arun turned to him and nodded. "That is all I hope for. Remember, success is not about wealth or status. It is about effort, growth, and integrity. Keep learning and stay focused on what matters." As Arun walked to his car, he felt a sense of closure. The boy who had once been laughed at had not only achieved financial success but had also earned respect, changed perceptions, and inspired others to improve themselves. He got into the car, thinking about the journey that had brought him here. It had been difficult, full of challenges, and often lonely. But every step, every small effort, had mattered. Arun knew that patience, focus, and humility were far more powerful than arrogance or cruelty. The reunion had ended, but the lesson remained. Arun had proven that true success is earned quietly, without seeking attention or revenge. The classmates who once mocked him would carry this memory forever, not as a moment of laughter, but as a moment of realization, respect, and inspiration. As the car drove away, Arun looked out at the city lights. He felt calm, proud, and satisfied. The boy who had been a loser in school had become a man of success, integrity, and influence. And the best part was, he had achieved it without losing his humility, his kindness, or his peace of mind. Arun smiled to himself, knowing that he had finally shown the world and his old classmates what true success really looked like.